This is going to be a good one. But if you can see us and you can hear us, just say hi in the comments. Let us know that you are here live with us. You're live with John and Travis. We've got Amy Giles on the line. And we go live in this group every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you can hear us and if you can see us, leave us a comment, hit the like button, hit the heart button, say hi in the chat. Let us know that you're here with us. And if you're live, type the word live because we like to know who's on live. And if you're on the replay, type the word replay because we also like to know when you're on the replay. When you type replay right now in the comments, that allows us to know that you're watching it right now. And that way we can kind of be watching comments in case you have some questions that pop up during the replay. So it's good to do that. If you're live, we'd love to know that you're on live. We can see how many are on live, but we can never see who's on live unless you type your name or say hi or something in the chat. So it's always great to see who's here. So just say hi, let us know you're here with us and that you can see us and hear us. And then let us know, obviously, if you're on live or if you're on the replay. This is going to be a really good interview with Amy here. So I'm really excited about this, but make sure you let us know you can hear us. Let us know you can see us. Type the word live or replay so that we know where you're at. So we've got Amy Giles from Progressive Kenpo Karate with us on the line. And we're going to be talking about how she went from worrying about leads all the time to actually enrolling students all the time. And it just was a couple short months. So it's a great kind of way to look at things. I was so cool. It was cool to see her, the transformation that's been happening there. So we're going to let her break down the story. Very encouraging, very inspiring. And I know there's a lot of people in the same boat as Amy. So we just thought it'd be perfect for Amy to get on here and just sort of share her story with all of you. And so just looking for some comments. If you can hear us and see us, Travis, how are we looking on that end? Have we got
too many? I'm plowing through them right now, John. You get it going, buddy.
All right, cool. So Travis is going to be watching those comments. So if it looks like he's staring at his computer screen, he definitely is because he's just managing those comments right now while I'm yammering around over here. And so I would love to hear from you guys that are watching right now, and then we'll get into Amy's story. But how many of you guys out there are just looking for a way to stop worrying about leads and just start enrolling more paying students? If that's you, just say me. And who out there has been tried to do like community events or, begging students to bring a friend, maybe hired an ad agency, or maybe you've been cycling through ad agencies every 3 months and just trying to figure out how to run ads, but maybe feeling stuck or not getting new students on the mats consistently and ready for a change. If that's you, just type me in the comments. That was basically Amy's story before she found us. And I'll let her share exactly how everything's impacted her school specifically. But go into the comments right now and let us know what you've been frustrated with, maybe what kind of things that you've been doing to grow your school that haven't been helping. And maybe you're just not getting students on the mats consistently or struggling to find out how to get more white belts on the mats on a regular basis. Just let us know in the comments. We live and die on these comments. We love the chat. We love to see that stuff coming back and forth because we want this to be a very interactive group. So maybe you've tried doing things like community events. Maybe you've tried the bring a friend, every day is bring a friend day, or maybe you've tried, going through agencies. We hear a lot that the life cycle of an agency is about 3 months in any martial arts school before they decide, hey, this isn't working, and they try another one. So maybe you've been doing that too, or maybe you've even actually tried to run your own ads or boost posts. I'd love to know what you've tried. So just put all that stuff in the chat. I can't see the chat right now, so I'm gonna try and pull that up as soon as we get going here. But looks like we got lots of comments, and so let's just get right into it. Amy, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you. How are you guys?
Doing good, doing good. Awesome. So I love the fact that we're here to talk about how you went from worrying about leads to enrolling students, how it happened so quick. And I'd love to get into how that feels a little bit later in the call. But if you would just go ahead and right now just introduce yourself and some of your backstory, and then we'll dive into the interview and get some more insights on how fast stuff can change.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Amy Giles, and I have a Kenpo karate and Krav Maga. I also offer cardio kickboxing. I'm located in Central Illinois, and I've been doing this for a little over 20 years. And I did all the things that John just talked about. I mean, and all for free, right? Giving our time. We're doing parades and, going to health fairs and going to scope programs, or I don't know what they call it for you guys, but it's the after school care. Doing school assemblies, pep talks. I did all of that stuff, and I did that for several years. I have to say the last probably Probably 10 years or so, I'm like, this stuff doesn't work. Okay. And I mean, and I got to the point where I was like, I have volunteered so much of my time. And don't get me wrong, like I love to give back to the community. And if there was something that called out to me, obviously I would still go and do it. But I quit beating myself down to like try to figure out where we could be, every month to do these things, because it just wasn't turning into students. And I felt there has to be a better, way to use my time. So I just decided, well, I'm going to do the buddy nights and stuff. And sometimes that would bring in a few things, but then you have to buy pizza and it's like, okay, you get one student, maybe, was it worth it? All that time and energy that went into that. I have tried the boosting a post thing. I learned really quick that when you boost a post, Facebook hides your posts. Did you guys know? I mean, I don't know if that's still the case now, but it sure seemed like it at the time. I started doing a lot of organic posting on Facebook, and I did feel like that was gaining me some traction. I mean, people would come in and they would almost be chatting with me like they knew me. And then I would say, do we know each other? Have we met? Oh, well, I just see you all over the place. I'm like, and this was during COVID even. I'm like, all over where? Nobody's going anywhere, and I realized that it was the Facebook posts that people were seeing me on there, and just, doing student spotlights going on. And I'm really passionate about the mind body connection too. So I'll talk a lot about that and then mention, hey, I also do martial arts. And I think people, really have kind of enjoyed that aspect too. But I felt like, okay, but I'm still concerned. Like I'm putting these things out organically, but I really don't know. There's no way to track it. I don't know when it's going to bring people in. And it sort of occurred to me like a light bulb, like, hey, if I'm getting traction on just these organic posts, what if they were paid? What if I actually knew what I was doing with this? I had no desire to try to figure it out myself though. So that's where you guys came in. I sort of Facebook stalked you for a little bit, and then started slowly kind of commenting on things. And I mean, I'll just, I'll give it to you guys straight. Like I would watch something like this and I would go to that person's Facebook page and be like, okay, is this person legit? Like, let me check out, or, what kind of vibe do I get from this person when I go and search it out? And then I saw you guys on a podcast from a martial artist that I've actually had met before. And I was like, okay, this is good. I journaled about it. There's that mind body stuff, but I feel like as martial artists, like I can really talk about those things with you guys because you get it even more so than, just the people looking at my, my personal feed on Facebook. I had to feel like you guys were aligned with how I do business, with who I am as a person. And I had to feel like the people you were helping aligned with me too. And I did. So here we are.
Awesome. I love that. That was so.
I remember that, like talking to Amy, like in little pockets for like a 3 or 4 month window of just kind of like little comments here and there. I definitely remember that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I remember seeing a couple, looking back now, I can remember like a comment or like a question, and then just sort of like, oh, where'd she go? Like, Travis and I will often discuss like, oh, hey, so-and-so commented again on the post. Have we talked to them? And oh, no, a little bit of conversation here and there. And then all of a sudden she comes through and I see the welcome into the student magnet group. And I was like, hey, all right.
Yay.
We were excited. And I remember you made some comments too about, some competitive comments like, oh, I'm coming for Derek, so I
I still am, Derek.
That's right.
You're inspiring me.
She's coming for you. Awesome. So give me a little bit of background on the numbers. So did COVID drop the numbers? Did you stay pretty level during that? Stayed pretty level.
I mean, obviously I lost some people. I don't think there's probably anyone, right, that didn't lose some students from it. But they started, again, what I think that being on Facebook helped, and just saying, hey, I'm still having class, and so the people that come to me, they really weren't, I mean, I guess I was fortunate. Nobody really wanted to wear masks. Nobody, I mean, we did what we had to do to make sure that, people were comfortable and that we were following rules, and stuff. But I did online classes with my clientele for 12 weeks, and 90% of my student body stuck with me through that. So I was really grateful. But I will tell you guys this, I mean, and I'm going to probably preach this multiple times, because this is how important it is to me, but mindset is everything. So you can be in this program, but if you you sign up to have John and Travis coach you, and in the back of your mind, you're like, this isn't going to work, then it's not going to work for you. Right. I mean, you have to be clear and have that vision and stuff, and know that, hey, these guys can help me. And here's why. Right. And it was when my husband's self-employed too. He owns a barber shop, and we were literally watching the news. And as it was coming on, it was saying like, these are the businesses that are essential. I can't stand that word. We're all essential. But anyway, these are the essential services that can stay open, and the rest of you have to close. And we just like looked at each other like, oh my God, like really? I mean, we can't go to work, and I literally stood up out of the chair and looked at him, and I was like, no, this, we will come out stronger from this. This will not hurt our businesses. We will be better for this. I promise you. I refuse to let it be any other way. And then it wasn't. So and there are a lot of kids that came in and they were like, hey, we've always kind of wanted to try this, but we were so busy with like the traditional sports that, we want to give this a try now. And so that, I feel like I got a lot of athletes who were used to being busy that still wanted to be busy. And the great thing is I still have the majority of them. Some of them, you knew it was temporary, but that's okay. That's something I've kind of learned in my journey too, is that, in the beginning, when someone would leave, it would be like, oh God, what did I do wrong? Why didn't I keep this person here? Now I know that, hey, if I can help a person for 3 months and then they go on, that's great. I mean, we're, not everybody's meant to stick with us forever. So I think, no, I grew during COVID. That was a really long-winded way of saying I grew during COVID.
Hey, I love it. So, all right. So I'm trying to remember when did you start with us?
So, okay. So I actually, it was like in July, I think, of last year that I got into the program, but I didn't start running ads until November because I had an injury. And I hurt my back and my sciatic nerve, and it was pretty intense. And I just felt like I really needed to be like, to start this and to be able to focus, like I would work on it for a couple minutes and have to leave. Like I couldn't sit anyway. Not trying to make excuses, but I just wanted to be in a really good place, and make sure that when all these new people were coming in, that I didn't look like this pained, person. And so I started in November.
Got it. Okay. So started in November. We were kind of way past outside of all the COVID stuff. And so you were doing stuff before, you were posting a lot on Facebook, didn't have any way to track it, as you said. And then draw me a picture between how it used to be versus how it is now using our program.
Yeah, it's awesome now, because before, when I would just kind of like spend time wondering, people commenting on maybe some of the things I'm posting and thinking like, okay, who could I reach out to that maybe used to train and doesn't? Now I'm answering inquiries and scheduling appointments. Like, I have 9 appointments this week set. And so, you guys asked me the question, is it more or less work now. Well, the thing is, like, I really wasn't like, my marketing plan was nil. So yeah, there's more things I'm doing, but it's super exciting. Like, I'm excited to go to my computer. It's not time. I mean, obviously it takes time, but it's not, it's not difficult. Like, right, you get on here, you answer the questions, you be a follow-up ninja, you follow up with these people, you get them on the schedule. If you have a good program, once they get in here, that's your job, right? But you guys are, you've showed me how to find these people, or have these people find me. And it's awesome. It feels so good. It's like so relaxing. And I can tell you, if you're like, you're on the fence with this, it's just so much about our mindsets too. I mean, for years, I was so afraid, right? I was like thinking I was doing the responsible thing by not spending this money, because it's like, well, how do I don't have any sort of like proof that I'll get it back, especially when you do things like radio and and this is, or I mean, I advertised on this woman here in town. She has a website for Springfield area moms, right? And it got nothing for me. And it was expensive. It was like $600 to like write a blog post that I had to write, put it on here, nothing, and this is just, it's trackable. And then when you're tracking and it's not working, then there's tools and tips in your coaching to help us, get to where we need to be. So you don't feel like you're just sort of like throwing spaghetti or your money at a wall and just sort of wondering where it's going to fall.
Yeah, I love that. So that's, for anybody from the outside looking in, that's really what we've helped Amy with here. It's not throwing a bunch of random stuff out there and just kind of trying to get your name out there. It's a very strategic approach, very much step by step. It takes complete strangers, helps them along this path into little tiny micro commitments toward becoming a fully paid student. And that's really what Amy's been able to tap into. What a great example of somebody that's been able to just follow our process and then even adapt it to kind of fit some of her own systems and put it into place. But so in a very short period of time, you went from all that, like doing all sorts of stuff and not seeing any results, to just like sitting back. I love this. I love the fact that you said it's very relaxing. I've never heard anybody say marketing is so relaxing, but but I understand that, because I remember for me starting a business, like I had started a bunch of businesses before getting into this business. And it really was hard to figure out like what activities are the ones I should be focusing on. Because as a business owner, especially a small business, it's always like the list is endless of things you could be doing. There's always something you can be doing, right? Like the to-do list.
Yeah, the boys' bathroom always needs to be cleaned.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's always something going on. But like, what is the valuable activities? How much time do you allocate toward different things? And I just remember one of my mentors was like, schedule appointments and book appointments. That's it. Those are the two most important things you can possibly do. Everything else can fit in behind that. But if you're not scheduling appointments and then actually doing the appointments, what are you doing? And so, that was really eye-opening for me. And then being able to understand how to do that, like with really a simple process. It's not like, it doesn't require some sort of like marketing guru status to be able to set up a couple of easy processes. It's just knowing where to plug that stuff in. And so it's really cool to kind of see that come to life in your story, and it's fun to see your perception of it from where you are now, because it just brings me back to going through it myself. So very cool. So go ahead. Do you have something to add?
No, I was just going to say too, that don't look at me and think, oh, well, she probably understands tech or something, because I do not. I am technologically challenged, and I'm okay with that. I've gotten a lot better since COVID. Had to learn what Zoom was and figure out those things really quick. But no, I mean, and I feel like most of people that are curious about this some of you might be brilliant on the computer, amazing, but most of us like to be like moving our bodies and out on the mat and, face to face kind of thing. So please don't look at me and think, well, she can do it because she probably understands. No, definitely not. Definitely not.
I get that question a lot when I talk to school owners, like, hey, how technologically, adept do you need to be? And I'm like, well, every other school owner, how many martial arts school owners do you know that are like super technology people? So it's like, hey, if this has worked for so many schools, then that means it can't be that complicated.
Right. Like we just somehow went out and found 300 of the most tech savvy school owners.
Yeah. Well, you really nailed down your niche. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. For sure. So awesome. So you've been running ads since November. How many students have you enrolled since starting with us?
25 full enrollments.
25 full enrollments. Awesome. Yeah. And so any idea, and so you've got about 9 appointments out in the wings right now. And are you pretty consistent with the numbers as far as like how many of those that you think are going to enroll? Are you good at predicting that?
Yeah, I feel like I am, and I feel like I'm getting better at that too. And this is something that I find cool too. So if a parent and student come in and I just like kind of don't feel like this is the best fit for them, I don't ever have that personal struggle on the inside where like, okay, but I don't know where my next student's coming from. So I should really just try my best to like make this work, make this work for this person. And that's nice because I've had a couple of people that have come in from leads and they're great people, but it's just their kid's not really ready or they're not really committed to getting them here to class. And it's obvious to me. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. And so that's been nice too. It's like, okay, that's okay. This lead wasn't quite right, but the next one will be, and it has been every time. So
I love that. And that's a major concern of a lot of school owners to be able to keep their integrity while growing their school. And so one easy way to keep your integrity is to not be tempted to enroll people that aren't a good fit. But if your lead flow is so low that you just have to like make rent, sometimes even without knowing it, it's easy to be tempted to sacrifice your integrity just to get somebody in. So I love that you brought that up. So a quick question on the 25. So you got 25 new fully enrolled students. Do you know how many paid trials you've sold since starting with us?
Okay, so I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this one, but I've had taken every one of my leads and turned them immediately into a full enrollment. I did no paid trials.
I love it.
So I know that's not how, but
well, so that's what's great about the system that we've got in place. It's a template, but it's not a cookie cutter. So it works it really works. And like you said, it's a lot about mindset. The paid trial is such a good tool for people who aren't sure if it's either unsure of their own pricing or unsure of the process or unsure of anything. Those templates are there. But if you have the confidence in your program and your enrollment process is confident, it's easy to just go right to that. We have quite a few school owners that kind of skip over certain parts. One thing, I would always caution anybody new who's watching that maybe has just started or isn't in the program yet. We do like to have you follow the process to the T at first, only because that way it helps us troubleshoot if the problem arises. But you've had some good success with it so far. So what can I can't argue with results.
And honestly, I have last week I kind of went through some of a couple and thought I probably should have tried the paid trial with them. So I've made kind of a mental note of that to do a little better with that. But yeah.
Got it. So when somebody
follow the rules, don't be a rule breaker like me.
Hey, you got to bend them a little bit though. You always want to push the limits. So I'm curious, let's get into that process a little bit. When somebody comes in through the door, they're coming in and answering an ad for a paid or for a free trial. And then from there, you're taking them from the free trial and upgrading them right to becoming a student. How much money they put down on that first day? Like, how's that process all work for you?
Yeah, so I went to offering a 3, 6, and 12-month package. That really boosted my numbers a lot. I'm not really sure what's going on because again, like I said, I really think so much of this is about mindset. And I really felt like for years having people sign up for 12 months, they didn't really flinch at that. But that I feel like that's really changed and that it's when I offer the 3, 6, and 9, some of them will still go ahead and do the 12, but they seem relieved. And then I have people who sign up at 3 months and, 3 years later, they're still here, but if I would have just said 12 months right away, at least that was what I was experiencing. I was not that I would have people say, I just can't do that. I just can't make that commitment. I'm like, okay, I need to relook at this. So it depends on the package that they choose. But if they do 3 months, then it's $150 plus $25 for their uniform. If they do 6 months, it's $125 plus $25 for their uniform. And then they sign up for 12 months, it's $115 and their uniform's free.
Got it. And so what's split? I was just going to ask you, what do most people take?
6 months.
6 months. Okay.
Yeah. Although in the past 2 weeks, I've had 2 cash outs for the year.
Yeah. Gotta love those.
Yeah.
So money in, money out.
Mhm.
What have you spent? About 3,000 on ads so far, if I had to guess?
Yeah, that sounds about right. I might be able to look that up if you want to know the exact number.
I think if you're doing about 600 a month,
I am.
right? November, December, January, February, March. So maybe a little less than 3,000, somewhere in that
Yeah,
range.
I think it's a little less than that, but because I
Did
think
you launch your ad in November, Amy? Was it in November that the ad went live?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, I think the middle, because I actually see here's the tech savvy thing, you guys. I thought my ad was on like November 3rd, and it was like 10 days went by. I'm like, I'm looking at it, and I just realized I didn't actually hit the publish.
This isn't working.
Now I get it.
that goes back to your mindset.
I was looking at it every day too. I'm like, I can't tell if it's spending money. I don't want to ask this question. I feel like an idiot. Now I just ask. But yeah. So anyway, there were like 10 days where it probably could have been right. I think I'm blushing even. Yeah. It's a little embarrassing, but no, yeah, it was probably around the 10th of November.
That's better than 10 days of it running and not checking it and it not working. So.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Definitely. Okay. So probably like 20, probably closer to 2,400.
I was going to say when you said 3,000, because I felt like it was more around like the 2,500 mark or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then money in, do you have any idea what kind of revenue numbers were pulled in since?
I should have written that down.
Curious.
I know that right now. So my monthly profit is around, I want to say 1,800, even with my ads. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. So I was just some quick math. You said if most people do 6 months, they're collecting how much? 150?
125.
25. And then no free uniform with that?
They have to pay 25 for the uniform.
Got it. So 125 plus 25, 150 you're collecting. And then you got 25 of those. So even if that's all everybody did, you collected 3,750 from spending 2,400. And then do you know your student lifetime value? How much is a student worth to you over the course of their?
So I feel like I keep students around 3 years is probably my.
And what's the average monthly?
Average monthly is 125.
125. Mm-hmm. So 4,500 lifetime value times 25 of those, $112,500 in projected revenue by spending 24. What's that? What's the return on that, Travis? 2,400. It's like
I'm glad you guys are the math people.
4,688% return. Anybody who would?
I said 50. I was close.
Yeah. 50x. So raise your hand in the comments say yes if you would like to get a 50x, if you'd be willing to get 50x return on your ad spend. Spend 100 times 50. What's 50 times 155?
I was told there would be no math, John.
Yeah. I was told there would be no. All right. All right. Good stuff. If you would be willing to get a 50x return on your ad spend, just say yes in the comments.
Or I want to be like Amy.
Yeah, I want to be like Amy. Right. Exactly. So I know you've tried a lot of other stuff. I know that this has been working out great for you, and it's really great. What was the thing that really tipped you over the fence? We talked a little bit about how you commented and you did all that, but what was the moment where you're like, this is it. I want to do this. Take my money, Travis.
Take my money. Yeah. I think again, when I was just having people say, hey, I sort of feel like you're everywhere, and thinking, okay, I need to have like a real strategy to this. And then I watched you guys, an interview that you did on a podcast. And I was just like, okay, this is just what I need to do. I'm done being afraid. Because this could be a whole nother like interview, but I think like in the beginning of my career, I was really ballsy in the sense that, so this will be, people on here will be like, what? If it's a long story, but anyway, I actually took the studio over 20 years ago, but I was an advanced white belt when I did it.
Wow.
Okay, so there's a lot to my story. It's kind of probably a PR person's dream, really, right? But when I look back on my younger self, I'm like, what in the heck was I thinking? Like, I can't even believe my parents like co-signed this loan. It's just like, but thank God they did. And so I was just like fearless. But then about 5 years into it, I watched one of your interviews from another gentleman, and he talked about the politics of martial arts, right? Well, I maybe had like I don't know his backstory, but I had a situation where politics were heavily involved. And I went from being like fearless and thriving to scared, kind of scared of failing for a while. And then it almost turned into like, even with the posting on Facebook all the time, or even something like this now I'm fine with, but also a little bit of fear of success, because it's like, oh, if these people see, they're going to like come after me. I don't know this. Some people watching this might be like, what is she talking about right now? I have no clue. And I'm so glad that if you don't understand, I'm so grateful for you. I'm happy for you. So then it was almost like this fear of the wrong people seeing me, if that makes sense. And then I realized, wow, I guess it's kind of fear of judgment. If you could take both of those and put them under this fear of judgment. I actually just posted about this recently, but I just was like, I'm tired of being afraid. And if I can survive COVID and still be thriving, what am I afraid of here? Like, it's just a story I'm making up in my mind, and I mean, I can take the time and energy and visualize this being everything that I want it to be, or I can just continue to be afraid. And my son's 14 and he's a black belt here. And, I'm constantly talking to my students about letting go of their fears and, being courageous and trying new things. And I thought, I need to get off my butt and like do the same. So, yeah.
I love it.
I remember that, not to interrupt you, John, but I remember, Amy, when you and I had talked initially, that was some of the conversation we had. And then even after you got started, just kind of having that, that's why I knew you were going to be successful. After we talked a second time where you're kind of still, I think, battling that mental gymnastics that we put ourselves through. And just the fact that you were willing to have that conversation and you wanted to talk about, hey, what was going on mentally, about what was kind of pausing your ability to really kind of take that next step and grow. When we got off that phone call, I was like, oh, she's just going to absolutely crush it. Because most people aren't introspective like that, where they're trying to understand how their kind of impacting their own situation. And the fact that you were, I was just really excited after we had that conversation.
Yeah. I remember Travis texted me immediately after that call and he goes, Amy Giles is going to crush this thing. And I was like, just out of nowhere, I was like, awesome. Why do you say that? And he told me about that conversation. I'm like, oh yeah, she's coming. Yeah. She's coming for it. She's getting it. So that's awesome. If you guys are inspired, type the word inspired in the chat right now. Cause I'm inspired. I love this kind of stuff. And I to me, the mindset stuff is so important, but the hilarious thing to me is that when we do a training that's around mindset, we get the lowest attendance, we get the worst return on it because people don't understand it. The people who need it the most are the ones who think they don't need it at all. And the ones who need it, and the ones who, you know, could probably get by without it, dive into it and just become so much better for it. So I'm so glad that you're all about the mindset because I love that part. It was what made the biggest impact in my life. And I went for a long time as a person who thought I didn't need it because I studied it for, you know, I read every book there was, I studied everything, and it all starts to kind of sound the same. And it all starts to be like, yeah, there's nothing really new here. But when you go into it with this attitude of I'm going to learn the new trick, the new mindset hack and the new mindset trick, it's really nothing new under the sun. But the renewal of that, like the coming from a different perspective, the looking at it again and again and again, and really working on like personal development, like doing work on it, like what you're talking about, is so powerful and so necessary. And I never understood the expression that Zig Ziglar always said when he said, motivation, I recommend motivation like I recommend showering daily, you know? Yeah. And I never understood that until I went for about a 2-year period thinking I didn't need it and thinking I'd had enough motivation. And then looking at where my business was, which is completely in the toilet. It was like the worst I was at. And I look back and I go, yeah, it probably does have something to do with it. And when I snapped out of it and started working on myself, almost immediately things changed, like immediately. So I hope you all are inspired. I love to see the comments here. We've got a lot of comments on this interview.
Oh man, people are loving it.
One of the top ones. So it's really good. A lot of viewers still on. It's great. I love it. And these stories with Amy and with anybody that we interview are really here to inspire you who are watching. So, you know, these are school owners who are great at what they do, implemented just a simple system that literally anyone can do and have gotten success from it. And that should get you motivated. So if you're on with us live and feeling inspired by Amy's story, just type inspired in the comments. Plus, she's taking her time out of her day. It's sort of a nice way to say thank you because I know she wants to inspire people here too. So show her some love. If you're on the replay, definitely type the word inspired in the chat as well so that she can see that come through. And we're super, super excited. So back to you, Amy, real quick. You've enrolled 25 students, figured all that stuff revenue wise. Talk me through some of the emotional part of like what it's like to kind of wake up and go, oh, I've got 9 appointments out waiting in there. Like I know when I cracked that code for myself, it was very exciting. And like you said, relaxing, but give me some of the emotions of like what goes through your mind as you see that transition on a long-term basis.
Yeah. It just, well, first and foremost, I feel grateful. Second, I feel like, yes, like, you know, I'm showing up for myself, showing up for not just for myself, but for my kid, right? I could get a little emotional. You know, my son, like I said, he's 14 and this is a family for us. I mean, we are a very family oriented environment. My kid is wicked smart. You know, he gets all the A's and he doesn't really have to, you know, put a lot of energy into it. And he has a lot of interest. And I think I probably told Travis this on our phone call because this really was a huge motivator to work with you guys too. And I can't believe like I didn't think to say it when you asked me a minute ago. But my son was talking to an adult and I wasn't in the conversation, but I was in earshot of it. And the guy asked, my son's name is Griffin, you know, Griffin, what do you want to do when you're out of school? And he's just 14, but still, you know, he said, well, my most viable option is to run the martial arts school that my mom owns, but I'm also interested in engineering and music and blah, blah, blah. And when he said that, I I mean, I felt frozen for a second, like, whoa, okay. So my kid legitimately like maybe wants this to be his career. And if that's the case, like I'm super happy. You know, we have a good life. We take vacations, we have fun, but I'll just be honest, it's not good enough for my kid. It's just, it's not enough for what I know. It just isn't. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, he's a freshman in high school, and that gives me 8 years because he wants to go to college, to just blow the lid off of it, right? And to just, when he's done with college, he can look at me and he can be like, Mom, you know, thank you, but no thank you, or heck yeah. Or maybe on the side, you know?
Yeah.
And so when those people are coming in, I feel grateful. I feel proud of myself for taking the leap. I'm grateful to you guys. I feel excited because I know we make a difference. I know that you guys out there make a difference for your students. I know it. And so the potential to reach more people with that, that was a big hang up for me for a while. When you talk about the whole integrity thing, it's like, and I know so many people out here watching will be able to relate to this, but it's like, well, I don't want to be a McDojo, or I don't want to, you know, I'm serving people and I'm a spiritual person, and I shouldn't be about money for it. But you guys, like, we have to make money to be able to help our community as much as possible. Like, you know, it's okay to do what we love and make a crap ton of money doing it. Like, I'm finally okay with that. And that took me some time too. So yeah, I feel grateful. I feel inspired. I feel excited. I feel relieved. I feel relaxed. I feel like that the potential is limitless. And I feel like for the first time in a long time, I'm floating downstream.
I love it. I love it.
I just love that your son used the word viable in a
I know.
at 14. That's what I love.
That's what my husband's like. I don't even know what that word means. He's kidding, but well, he might have been kidding. I don't know. He's like, viable? Yeah.
That is outstanding. Awesome. How many of you guys are getting inspired by this right now? Type inspired in the comments. I'm excited. I'm excited this story is getting out there to the public, for people to hear, because it's great. I hope, are there some mental shifts happening right now? Is anybody on here like, so this is the shift I needed? Hopefully let's see that. Show us some love in the comments. I hope you're realizing that you have the power to change those circumstances wherever you are. And really, it's been great to watch this. Go ahead. You had something?
No, I was just saying, and only you. I mean, like,
yeah.
You know, you guys are amazing coaches and stuff, but like, you can't force the person in, right? I mean,
that's it.
You have to make the choice for yourself. You have to decide where you want to be in the next 6 months. If you want to be inspired and grateful and excited, or if you just want to be in the same place, wondering, you know, where your next student's coming from, or frustrated or paddling upstream.
Man, and I'll tell you what, as somebody who has been on the other side of that, I remember when people would say, because the first step of that is actually taking responsibility for where you are right now. And I remember, and that's hard, because I remember when I had been in a bankruptcy and had 2 foreclosures. Our home that we lived in was getting foreclosed on, and our rental house that we had was getting foreclosed on. And we were in dire straits, had no potential of income coming in from anywhere. It seemed like everything I tried was just going, like, just turning to dust in my hands. And I remember hearing people say, you've got to take responsibility for where you are. And they'd be super successful. I'd be like, well, that's easy for you to say. You're really successful. If I was really successful, I'd be able to say the same thing. But this, I have all these excuses and all these, I'm the victim of this, and this. And that's why I'm not successful. And that went on for like 2 years. 2 years I let that happen in my life, where I made all these excuses after reading every success book, after studying Zig Ziglar, after seeing all these guys. And I remember thinking that, like, I would never say it out loud, but I would say like, well, yeah, that's easy for that person to say because they're already successful. But I'm telling you, it was not until I finally was like looking at all these successful people and actually having a mentor that was like, no, it's you. And here's the power. Once you take responsibility for where you are now, it opens the door for you to be able to change things. Because until you accept that responsibility, you can say, well, I want to be here in the future. I want to be there. But your door is still closed until you take responsibility for now, then the door opens and you can move into the next phase. If you're holding on to judgments, if you're holding on to excuses, if you're holding on to fears, all that stuff is locking that door in front of you and it's not going to let you by. So I'm so glad that you brought that up because I love talking about this stuff because it really is like an instant change. Because when you see things differently, that lens that you see the world through changes, and then it gives you so much power to change your circumstances. It's just like an incredible thing. So I love this. It's beautiful to watch. It's beautiful to see like all the stuff that's coming through. Like, you know, we do some training on that stuff as well. And you do, I know that you're very into it. So it's cool to see that stuff kind of coming to fruition. But what's really cool, and what really excites me is that this is just the beginning. Like, I can't wait till the time when we're interviewing your son about how easy it was to take over the school after high school and after college. And, you know, how he's going to look back at this and go, 25 students, Mom, what are you? I do that every month, you know?
Right. It's so true. Yes.
Very cool. So awesome. So everybody who's inspired, this is what we do here at Get Karate Students. We help martial arts school owners fill up their classes. And like Amy said, we're not looking for a bunch of McDojos. We're not looking for people who really want to sacrifice their integrity for $1. We want people who have built programs, who are passionate about what they do. They do things with love and the intention to impact their communities, to help improve the lives of their students. And so if that's you, we'd love to invite you to a private call, a 15-minute like game plan call. So if you want to do that, type the word game plan in the comments right now. And what will happen is this is a totally free call. It's the same call that Amy did when she first decided like, hey, this is what I want to do. But maybe you're even on the fence and you're not sure and you have questions. That's what this game plan call is really for. And it's also to help us keep our integrity because we have enough student magnet members coming in through our doors on a regular basis that we can say no to you if you're not a good fit without it really hurting us. In fact, if we say yes to you and it's not a good fit, that hurts us a lot worse than if we say no to somebody who is not a good fit. So we want to help you. And so this 15-minute call is free. There's nothing for sale on the call. You literally cannot buy. You cannot bring a credit card to this call because we will not accept it. In fact, Ignacio will be taking most of these calls, and he's been thoroughly trained on what kind of a game plan you need based on a few questions. And it's the same process Amy went through. And really, it's just to help us formulate a game plan for your specific school in your specific situation. We might take a peek at some of your current marketing efforts, maybe give you some practical strategies that you can start implementing. But if you're a school owner and you have a quality program, you want to get your program in front of more students, and you want to do it the same way that Amy's done it, we're going to open up some time on our calendars for a game plan call. It's 15 minutes. And we'll talk through a few key details about your school to understand where you're at. So if you want that free 15-minute call, it's, obviously we only have a limited number of time on our calendars. Ignacio will handle almost all of these. And then Travis will be handling sort of the next call. So type the word grow in the comments right now. I'm pointing at my screen as if you know what I mean, but my comments are over here. Type the word grow in the comments, and then we will definitely give you guys some answers, give you some clarity. And, this allows you to see if you even want to work with us or not. You kind of get a one-on-one experience of what it's like to deal with us. And either way, you're going to get a ton of value out of this. You're also going to get a bunch of clarity and what it looks like specifically for your school as far as getting new students and a real game plan on how to do that. So for everybody's watching, if you're a school owner, you want to dial in the same process that Amy's used to take her school to grow it by 25 students over the last couple of months. Just type the word grow in the comments right now, and we will hook you up with that game plan call. Once you do that, what will happen is somebody from our team, either Travis, probably Ignacio, will see the comment, and then he will send you a message through Facebook Messenger. And sometimes if you guys aren't connected, it'll end up in a thing called the requests folder. So check your message requests. And we're opening up that calendar to get you on the books either probably today or tomorrow. maybe the next day, depending on what kind of interest we get on that. And one other thing too that might happen on these calls is we give you some additional resources like homework assignments or anything that we really think you need to get that puzzle put together. And so that you can kind of look at our process from a high level. We may give you some methodology training, give you some answers and clarity, but either way, you're going to get a ton of value out of this call. So go ahead and type in the comments right now the word grow, and just write in the comments, just type the word grow, and then we'll get you on the schedule. So back to you, Amy. I would love to hear really quick what you're most excited about moving forward, since we've gotten past sort of the does this thing work or not stage.
Yeah.
And now we're looking forward over the next 12 months. What are you most excited for?
So I want to hit 150 students. And I know I can do it. And I'm really excited about it. For the longest time, I seemed to just like be stuck at 100 students. Like I would, I might have this like great month and I'd maybe get like, 10 new students. And then all of a sudden I'd have students gone for, because that's how we're in a business where people come and go. That's just how it is. Right. But again, it's a mindset thing, right? So you think, oh, I can't break through this. Well, if that's what you think, where your focus goes is where your energy flows. And so I just know. I know what's happening. I know I'm on the path. I know I just need to keep plugging away. I know I need to look at my numbers every day, make adjustments when I need to. But yeah, and I won't be surprised if I do it before the year's over. So
I love it. Awesome. Thanks, Amy. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. 150 students. One thing about those goals that we set, sometimes we hit ceilings like that and we'll bounce off those ceilings. If anybody's ever like lost weight, you might notice like you'll lose a bunch of weight and then you just kind of bounce off this barrier, right? But when you have a system in place, you can identify that barrier and you go, okay, this is just a ceiling. And once you break through that ceiling, all of a sudden it becomes a new floor. So if 100 has been, if that's been the point where you bounce off of, when you bust through that barrier, all of a sudden you won't get below it anymore and you keep growing. So awesome. Can't wait to see you hit those goals. That's going to be super exciting. Very proud of you and what you've been able to accomplish so far. And it's just great to see the impact that you're making in the community. And again, just the beginning. So can't wait to see where you're at by the end of the year. Definitely check in with us and let us know. Thank you for inspiring us. And we still have a lot of people on the live stream. We got a lot of comments already. I think did we bust the 100 comment barrier?
Oh, we're over 100. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Come on, bring more.
Yeah. All right. So very cool. And Amy is just one of many success stories of our program. We've helped some of the most successful and some of the most profitable martial arts school owners in the world. We've worked with well over 300 school owners right now. And our vision is really to create an army of the profitable, quality martial arts school owners. So go ahead and type the word grow in the comments. And what will happen next is we'll reach out, we'll see if you're a good fit. And, we'll see what's going on in your martial arts school, what challenges you're running into, what problems you're running into. And then from there, if our programs are a good fit, we'll talk to you about that. If for some reason it's not a good fit, maybe we'll refer you to somebody else that could help you out better or to some free resources that we can provide with you. So again, if you guys want the same systems, the same processes, the same kind of templates, and all the same help and support and mentorship that Amy's had to go from, worrying about where the leads are coming from and doing all sorts of stuff that she couldn't track, to having a system in place and knowing that the future holds and basically, like she said, an unlimited or limitless supply of new students. And maybe you're considering working with us and going through that process that she's implemented in her school. Or maybe you just have some questions. You're wondering, is this right for me? Or is this going to work for my school? Or how would it look with my specific situation? If you just want some information on how we can help and what it would look like to work with us here directly, we're offering those game plan calls for the next few days. They're 15 minutes tops. Sometimes they're like 5 to 10 minutes. It really depends on how deep you want to go. But there's literally nothing for sale. It's impossible for you to buy anything from us on that call. It's really just a way to understand and diagnose what's happening, to see if you're a good fit. And then we can set you up with some homework, additional resources, and plug you into what next steps would be looking like to get started with us if you're a good fit. And so if you want that, just type the word grow in the comments right now, and we will get in touch with you. So we'll have our team keeping an eye on the comments there. For anybody that comments, we'll send you that private Facebook message to get you that clarity. And one day you might be like Amy here with me and Travis on an interview. And so it's very awesome.
Can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, that'll be very cool. So it's really cool how fast things can change and what kind of a big impact you can make on your community. And, we hear all the time, like we had another interview just recently, and, he's been stuck at the same spot. And then all of a sudden, every parking spot in front of his building was filled up with people trying to get in for their first lesson. So you never know what can happen. You might think your community's tapped out, and then you come and you plug in a nice program and you see how fast stuff can change. So we would love to hook you up on those game plan calls, get you some resources out. Even if you're not a good fit, we love helping out. We love offering resources because we know that the more value we pour into this community, the more likely you are to work with us when the time is right. And so definitely don't be afraid to book that game plan call. Amy, thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure. Personally, I've been inspired by your story multiple times. I know that a lot of people on here have been inspired as well. If you would, anybody that's watching right now, just bang on that like button a bunch of times. It's kind of like giving some applause for Amy and thanking her for her time here. So just go ahead and hit that like button a bunch of times. It puts up a bunch of emojis in the right corner as we're watching live. It's cool to see.